As supplement entrepreneurs, we're selling to people with health problems. We can't forget that. The relationship between LTV and people is something that we cover on this episode. We talk about wealth, happiness, building a business while also having a lifestyle and a business that runs itself. Plus, we talk about the secret sauce of a supplement business. My guest discusses how he built his company and its very different approach from a front-end customer acquisition approach which we typically see in the supplement space. Stick around to the very end for an extremely generous free offer. And if you're a supplement entrepreneur or if you're looking to get started in supplements, this is one offer you want to take advantage of. My guest is Dave Sherwin, and he is the owner of Dirobi, a supplement company that sells about 12 products. He opened his supplement company in November of 2010, and by June of 2011, he was making over $100,000 a month. Welcome to Health Business Mastery, the Creative Thirst podcast. I'm your host, Bobby Hewitt. My guest today is Dave Sherwin. Dave is a certified fitness coach and founder of the supplement company Dirobi. Dirobi helps people experience more energy, sleep better, eliminate digestion issues, and feel fantastic. Since 2009, his company has helped over 100,000 people lose weight, and he has gained tremendous insight into the challenges and joys of long-term weight loss. He is also the creator and host of the Dirobi Health Show, which covers everything to do with health and wellness, including the latest in nutrition, exercise, supplements, and clinical studies. Dave, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you for taking the time today. Let's start off by kind of like learning more about you, or learning more about Dirobi and what your founder story is, and how you started out selling supplements online.
Okay, well, my story goes back a long time. I've been self-employed since 1993, and I had an introduction into sales when I was about 19 years old that really shaped my life because for the first time ever, I went out doing something really scary. It was actually door-to-door sales, right? So it was tough. A lot of rejection. But when I finally got my first sale, like the thrill of eating what you kill, of making a commission, of making money, not by the hour, but being able to know that you can go out and make sales and make an almost unlimited income. The harder you work, the better you work, the more you make. That was kind of my introduction to entrepreneurship. So I graduated from sales to figuring out that it was better to actually own the company that had the salespeople, and started my first company in 1993. And that was a fairly successful company. We sold it for about $430,000 in 2000. And since then, I started dabbling in e-commerce and did a variety of different businesses. Those are the Wild West days of e-commerce. And I had ups and downs, successes and failures. And finally, I had one really colossal failure. I had a good business going at the time in about 2009, and our servers got hacked. We actually had a membership site for entrepreneurs. We were teaching people how to make money online. It was going fairly well. It was a decent business, but we got hacked and lost our whole business. I mean, everything was on the servers. So we charged the credit cards on the servers. We sent the emails through the servers. The content was on the servers. I couldn't even send emails to those poor people to tell them what had happened. We just disappeared.
Gosh,
it was absolutely terrible. And I was actually reaching out to friends like, my business is gone. We got destroyed. And every time we fought this, we tried to get our servers back online, but every time we did, the hacker had put code on the site to notify when new passwords were updated. And we had no idea. I had no idea back then about forensics and software, and about, the whole data security thing has really evolved since then. And it was probably better then than I knew. It's just an area I was completely unprepared for. And that led to some rocky up and down times. But finally, a good friend of mine said, you're a health guy. You love health and fitness and supplements, and you work out and you do races. And he goes, I can't believe you've never done supplements. It seems like the perfect business for you. And like a light bulb went off. And although I had no idea how to enter the supplement business, he actually helped me a little bit. He said, I know of a good product and idea, and talk to these guys. They've got a private label company in Atlanta, and buy some product and get it going. And with all my experience in e-commerce, I was able to pivot, and we opened a website in November of 2010. And by June of 2011, we're doing over $100,000 a month of supplement sales and haven't looked back.
Fantastic. Yeah, it sounds like everything you've learned up to that point has really just got you to where you needed to be, because that's starting out with door-to-door sales. That's the toughest sell possible, but you learn so much so quickly by doing that, right? And a lot of that translates to online sales, actually.
Yeah, and what I was really introduced to during that experience was personal development. The company was really good, and they brought in like motivational speakers, and they had us read books. And it was my first introduction to books like Think and Grow Rich and sales books by Zig Ziglar and all these old school kind of personal development stuff. I started reading those books and filling my head with positive ideas and thoughts of success and big dreams, and that was also an important part of my own story.
I still love those Zig Ziglar audiobooks. They're fantastic. And the stories he tells, the way he tells it is great. They're very entertaining, and there's a lot of lessons in there as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And then as I got more into entrepreneurship, books like Good to Great and
one of my favorites. Yes.
But there's been several. Good to Great is probably, it may be the best. It may be the best business book ever written. I know a lot of people agree with that. And then leadership books, and there's a plethora, and there's a lot of new ones, and there's a lot of new thought leaders in the space. Even that do e-commerce, so the whole genre has come a long way, but the basic concept of personal improvement, improving your skills, doing professional development, knowing your industry, learning how things work, all of that has been foundational for me. Oh, the E-Myth. That's the book that slipped my mind. The E-Myth.
Michael Gerber, excellent book. Yes. So you have sort of the supplement side, right? And then you have the coaching side. So right now, is the business, what is the business service? Is it both sides? Do you still do the nutrition coaching, the physical training and all, or is it really just supplements?
I don't charge for coaching, for nutritional coaching. What I do is, this is all part of our MO that in the supplement industry, there are some shady sellers. There's people that they just want to sell lots of bottles, and they don't really care about the end user. And I really wanted to differentiate myself from those types of sellers. And so on the homepage of my website, I have a link where they can book a private consult with me. And so I keep up my health certification because I want to have, I don't want to just be some guy that guesses at stuff. So I'm certified through Precision Nutrition to talk about nutrition. And so that I say, look, if you have questions, I will talk to you. Like, my support reps are excellent. I've got one support rep that's been with me since 2010. We've got people that really know their stuff. But I'm like, you want to talk to the owner? Here I am. Here's the link. Book a call. And for a lot of people, they don't actually book that call, but I think it just gives them confidence to know that I will talk to you personally, right? And I'm happy to just meet with you and help you with your challenges. Because we're talking about, people's health challenges are a big deal to them. If they have not been able to lose 40 pounds the last 10 years, and there's just something they feel is amiss in their genes or their body chemistry, or some having their gallbladder removed, or a hyperactive thyroid, or who knows what the situation is, right? And I'm not a doctor, I can't prescribe, but I can talk to people. I can have them keep track of what they eat for 3 days and get back to me, and I can advise in the realm of nutrition. So it's really a credibility thing, and a willingness to not be that company that's just for us, the first time someone buys something from us is not the end of a process. And I think this is where a lot of supplement sellers go wrong. They start selling their stuff, like, great, we sold 1,000 units last month. Well, that's great, but that's not, when you're putting together your business plan, you might have thought that that was the end result. That's not the end result. That's the beginning of a relationship. And I think that's a shift you need to make very early on in your supplement selling business. That when a customer buys, that's not the time for celebration. The time for celebration is when they're buying 6 months later and telling their friends about you.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's such a competitive industry, and the costs of acquiring a customer have gotten really out of hand over the last several years, just because of new people entry into the space, just more competition, and people just selling better, and having to compete with those types of people. That what you're really talking about is more of the lifetime value of the customer, really, and keeping them for the journey of their health.
Absolutely. And even more important than the lifetime value of the customer is the actual physical success of the customer. Those two are related, of course, but focusing on LTV is a different process. It's a different thing than focusing on people. And that's another thing I would recommend to new people in this game, is that, massaging your shopping cart and having upsells and side sells and good follow-up series. Those are all great things to do, but don't do it from the point of number crunching. Do it from think more of the people, right? One product that may be a really great product to raise the average order value in your cart might not actually be the very best product for that customer, right? So again, when you make that shift to genuinely trying to improve your customer's life, then all that other stuff follows.
100%. Absolutely. So how big have you been able to grow the company since you've started it?
It's an interesting question, because growth wasn't the goal at first. I was a big fan of the 4-hour work week. And I read that book and absorbed it. And I really wanted a lifestyle business. I didn't want to exist for my business. I wanted my business to exist for me. And so I was determined to have a business that was built with contractors and not employees, with systems. And that's what we did. And then, we've spent 90 days in Europe, and my business has grown. That the 4-hour work week is absolutely legit. It is a solid way to build a great business. Other entrepreneurs with big businesses, they talk about having a lifestyle business like that's kids stuff, like that's a hobby.
Yeah.
To me, a lifestyle business is the dream. It's awesome, right? Because my friends with the big businesses, those businesses own them, right?
Yeah, the business and life are the same thing. Like they're all lifestyle, right? You have a lifestyle, whether you want that lifestyle to be consumed with, working 12 hours a day or working 4 hours a day. It's still a lifestyle.
Yeah. But guess what happened? Guess what happened is a few years into creating a lifestyle business with very little effort necessary on my part, and spending time traveling and working out a lot. I was working out 15 hours a week. I was doing triathlons and adventure races, and I was running and biking and swimming and living my fitness dream, golfing, member of the men's league and my golf club, and just had this great lifestyle going. And guess what? I was setting such a bad example for my kids. I didn't realize it, but my kids were growing up that life was kind of a la-la land, and they started saying things like, we talk about them going to college, and they start saying, well, Dad didn't go to college. I don't have to go to college. I'm just going to do what he did. And all of a sudden, I thought, oh my gosh, I might raise lazy kids if I'm not careful.
Yeah.
And at the time I was working from home, and I went and got an office. We didn't need an office. I went and got an office. Now, now this is kind of a funny part of the story. I got an office on a golf course. Okay. So that my kids saw me leave to the office every day, that I could work for a couple hours and then go play golf. But I had to get out of the house. I had to start modeling that dad leaves the house and goes to work and then comes home.
Well, if you're going to get an office, the golf course is the best place to get it.
It was really, really fun. And then since then, I've gone more back to work. Like the other thing I've learned is that, there's a great study from Harvard, long-term study on happiness. And imagine you've heard of it. If you're into personal development, it's been referenced many, many times, where they've tracked the lives of these people who went to Harvard over like the last 40 years. And it's super interesting. And they found that the amount of wealth isn't an indicator of happiness. And that often the basics that we all already kind of know, like your social relationships, whether you have a strong marriage or partnership, those types of things. But the number one wasn't even spiritual life. And some people think, well, spiritual life, my spirituality is number one. It's not, according to the study. According to the study, the number one key to a happy life is being a productive person. And if you're not productive, it's very, very hard to be happy. And I feel like I learned that lesson through real life experience, that although I was able to create a situation where I could make more than enough money that we needed to live on, that didn't translate into being happy. And so the journey became more important. So I'm now living kind of a hybrid. I don't shoot for 4 hours of work. I work as much as I want to or need to. I try to keep the balance that I try to do it in a way that I don't have to work. So that's now my MO now is if I don't work for a week, my business better still be functioning and doing really, really well. If I don't work for a month, it better still be doing well. But I am going to work for the next month. And so it's kind of that kind of a model. And that's what's really working for me and resonating with me right now.
It sounds like that was all really influenced from Michael Gerber, E-Myth. All right. That book is all about systems and working on the business, not in the business, and 4-hour work week.
Absolutely. Those two influences have been huge. I mean, to give you an idea, I didn't just read the 4-hour work week. I had the physical book, I had the audio book, and I had the PDF. And for months and months, I didn't listen to anything else. Like every time I found myself being a doer in my business, I go, why am I doing this? Who else could do this? If I don't have that person, I need to find that person. I mean, I totally immersed myself in the 4-hour work week. And that period of time, although like I said, it didn't work out for me quite the way I hoped, it still was incredibly valuable. And then when I landed on my feet with what really did work for me, those principles proved to be really valuable. But the premise of only working 4 hours and going to a different place, you're just in a different place. You're just in a different place with the same problems and you're the same person. And again, it can be unsatisfying. Some people dream of this, like sitting on a beach, drinking fancy drinks with umbrellas in them. That for entrepreneurs, that happiness lasts like 2 hours, and then you're hot and you're sweaty and you got to go away from the beach and do something else. Well, then what? And so it's an interesting conundrum, actually. And so again, I think that the underlying premise has to be productivity.
Absolutely, especially for entrepreneurs, that feeling of productivity. And you can get that feeling in many different ways, right? You can get that feeling by just doing a lot of stuff, like a lot of tactical stuff, crossing off lots of things on your list, right? When you're at the level that you are, where you've created a lot of systems, you've outsourced a lot of the elements, how do you get that feeling of, how do you satisfy that feeling of productivity when you're not, or maybe you are you still doing the tactical work? It doesn't sound like you are.
I'll tell you the things I'm doing the stuff I like. For example, I have a podcast. I've done over 200 episodes. Like you, I have a podcast. I have health experts on, so it's a different genre, of course, but it's related. But anyways, I love doing the podcast. I produce 1 episode a week. I produce it myself. I do the work, I do the interview, I take the audio and put the intro on it, the extra, and upload it. And I've developed some great relationships from that. I have lots of people buying stuff from me from that as a happy side benefit. And some of the people I've interviewed, I'm now reselling their stuff in my store. I've had some good joint ventures come out of that. And none of this is what I envisioned. I just liked the idea of having a health podcast. And so I enjoy it. I don't outsource it. Um, I used to send the audio file out to an engineer, and they removed all the ums and all the ahs, and they put the intro and extra on. They made it really professional. And then finally I'm listening to other podcasts that I really like.
Doesn't matter, right?
I'm like, that doesn't matter. Who cares? And then it's just pain in the neck. Like, oh, did I upload this file? What file am I waiting on? I was like, screw this. I put it into GarageBand, put on the intro, put on the extra, put it out there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not that much work.
Not that much work. And you know what? If people like the guest, they're forgiving. They don't care if you say
Yeah. If the content is good, then it's a conversation, right?
That's right. That's right.
If it's a good conversation, it's a good conversation. Doesn't matter how many times we stutter or whatever.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do that. And then I like running things. I like following up and fixing things and working on the system. There's always something to do. I mean, I have no lack of stuff to do. There's always stuff to fix. And with some of the things, I'm the only person who can handle things like merchanting, and when it comes to the financial management of the business. Yes, I have a bookkeeper and we have an accountant, and they do a lot of work, but I still, as the owner, need to be involved. I need to understand my reports. I need to understand my profit and loss and my balance sheet and those things. So the financial management of the business, managing the finances themselves. Two big rules. I have two rules, and this might be interesting to people listening. If you want to be in the supplement business, you can never run out of inventory and you can never run out of money. And that is not easy to do because those two things are in conflict all the time, right?
Yes. Yeah. If you run out of inventory, if you have a sale that's so good that you run out of inventory, it's actually a bad thing, right? Because now you have to stop the traffic, all the algorithms stop learning, and you basically screwed yourself up.
You really have. And one of the big things that really helped me is I decided a long time ago to never buy anything from China. And that, man, you talk about the last 2 years, I've had a lot of competitors go away because of supply chain issues. And even currently, people can't get stuff because they've been dealing with Chinese suppliers. And so we have everything formulated in the US, we always have. And that has come back to serve us really, really well, while a lot of my competitors are struggling. So never run out of money, never run out of inventory. And chances are you need a lot more of both than you might think.
Let's go down that rabbit hole of never running out of money a little bit. So how do you do that? Or what do you recommend to someone to do that? Like, is it just all risk and credit card and remortgage your house? Like, what strategies have you used or heard of or read about in order to keep that cash flow going?
First of all, I'm a big fan of opium.
Other people's money.
People's money.
Yeah.
So no, don't do it with credit cards and stuff. Although we have at times.
Sure. At the beginning, I'm sure it's all bootstrapped.
Yeah, well, but even today, I have huge balance, not balance. I have huge money available on credit cards because I purchase everything and I get that money back. That cash back is fantastic, right? So credit card usage of buying inventory is beautiful, right? Like I have so much. I get a lot of money through Apple Pay, right? It's a great thing, and over time they keep raising my balance, and so I'm not against credit cards by any means. As a matter of fact, we've done a lot of travel off of the reward points of a Chase card, and I have an Apple card. But you don't want to do all that in the beginning. That's not the way to do it. Now, number one, there is a lot of money available from the government. Figure out SBA. The SBA is the best friend of American entrepreneurs, and I think it's something that too many people don't utilize. SBA loans are incredible. They're not that hard to get. As a matter of fact, let me tell you the secret sauce of a supplement business right now. I've told this to so many people, and I'll share it with you and everyone listening. The secret sauce right now is not to start anything from scratch. It is super hard. It's going to take a long time. It's going to be a lot of failure. Guess what? buy a business that qualifies for SBA money. Let someone else and I've done this, by the way. I bought a business in 2015. I paid $300,000 for a small supplement business. This guy started it. He was only selling stuff on Amazon. It was a small brand with about 4 products, and he had got it up to about $30,000 a month in sales. But he had partners in another business that were mad at him because he had this side venture. And like, hey, we're all investing a whole lot of stuff, and you got this little hobby on the side. So he put up his business for sale. He wanted $375,000. I offered him $300,000. He accepted my offer. I bought the business. Guess what? I still own that business. It's a little cash cow. It's profitable. I borrowed the money to buy it. I put 25% down. I borrowed the rest. I made payments at very low interest for, I think, 2 years. And then when it was paid off, we now just make money on that thing. Now that is a great way to get into the supplement business. He already had customers. He already had great products. He'd already had a few blown opportunities. He'd already figured out what products didn't sell. So he'd gone all through the pain of it. And now, and this story or ones like it are very common. If you go to quietlightbrokerage.com, that's the place I'd recommend. There's businesses for sale there, and many of them qualify for SBA. And so you do need to come up with a small down payment. I think it's 20%. And even if you got to beg, borrow, and plead for the 20%, I don't know who's listening to this show or how much resources they have, but as an entrepreneur, you can usually find a way to scramble and dig and beg and plead to get part of the money, get the rest from the government, and move on. And now you're building something where it's like an airplane taking off, right? The airplane uses a lot of its fuel taking off and getting to altitude. And when you can buy a supplement business that's at altitude and take it into outer space, that's easier than taking it from the runway to altitude.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It was already up and running. They solved a lot of problems for you already.
Yep. Little known secret, but a great one, a great way to get started.
Is this a second supplement business? Is this part of Dirobi, or is
Still
this
separate,
different?
100% separate, has its own books, its own EIN number. It's easy for us to run. What we use the same support people. So it has its own phone number, its own website, its own brands, the whole bit. But my support reps, we just bring all the tickets from both businesses into one software. And that's not very hard for us to run both.
Because you're getting economies of scale there with the support side of things.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. And you can do it with 2, you can do it with 3, 4. It's really it goes back to systems like we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, I can only do it with 2, but other people probably can do it with 3 or 4. I found that 2 and trying to grow 2 is enough. So for us, that's where we stopped. But yeah, there's plenty of people out there with the bandwidth and mental, ability to scale that up. It's not really my goal or my MO, but it's definitely a model that could work.
Yeah, and and it's a way to compete in different markets, right? I know Dirobi looks like it's kind of centered on the weight loss and the energy side of things. You covered a lot of things like digestion, sleep. Is there a particular niche that you've narrowed down in either one of these supplement companies, or are they both pretty broad?
In Dirobi, most of our customers are women, and they're between the ages of 30 and 70. And their number 1 interest is weight loss. And their number 2 interest is having more energy. And then after that, and we poll about every 6 months, we try to do a poll of our customers to find out what their top concerns are. And sleep is a big concern. Brain fog is a big concern. Not sleeping well is a big concern. And so what we do is, well, I'll tell you what we don't do first. We don't actually formulate a product for every one of those things. Instead, we understand that we're a health company. I don't think of Dirobi as a supplement company. I think of us as a health company. We try to sell our supplements in the context of their overall general health. Another reason why I do the podcast, they might learn something on the podcast that they can't even buy from me, I have someone on there who's selling something I'm never going to formulate or make. And on my own website, we're not trying to be a health store. We're not trying to have a massive catalog of products. We're trying to have a few very effective products that generate and help with the things people are most interested in. And so weight loss is a big seller for us, and gut health. A lot of people have digestive issues. So we have a really amazing product called Eat Anything that is an enzyme prebiotic, probiotic formula that really helps people digest, right? So if they take it before they eat, 20 minutes later, they can eat foods that would normally cause them bloating and gas, upset stomach, that type of thing. And so we won't formulate anything unless we feel like we can be world-class in that product. And we can't be world-class in everything. As a matter of fact, we only have 3 new products in development right now. And that's probably the only 3 we will do for 2 to 3 years. And we'll spend a lot of time adding those to the store and making them part of packages and announcing them and coming up with a marketing plan for them and stuff. So we try to keep it simple and then address the rest of their issues through content, through the podcast, through us just providing great information. So I don't have necessarily a direct sleep supplement, but I have sleep experts on my podcast. So I'm hoping that through our content and our core products, that they have confidence in us, they buy our core products. What we don't sell, they get elsewhere, and that's okay. That's okay. I'm not going to be all things to all people.
Absolutely. Yeah. So there's multiple ways to grow, right? Really 3 different ways to grow, right? But adding more products is one way, but just selling more of what you have to more people is another way.
The number one way is creating a top-selling product and giving it out and creating bigger sizes. For us, that's been huge, absolutely huge.
So supersizing the bottle from 30 capsules.
Supersize the bottle. And it's amazing what that does. So once you've developed a product and people like it and they're buying it and it becomes popular and you have a month supply bottle, then you make it in a 2-month supply bottle. Well, guess what? The shipping might go up 20, 30 cents, but the overall price goes up significantly. And the profit margin, so your cost of warehousing hardly goes up because there's hardly a difference between, what's the difference between this size bottle and this size bottle, right? Not much, but one can be 2 months supply and one's a 1 month supply, you see? And so your storage fees don't go up very much and your margins go up, your average ticket goes up. And so that is, and so we typically will do 3 sizes of a product once we know people like it.
I've seen, or I've had experience in supersizing on the upsell after the post sale, like post purchase upsell. But I think you might be talking about something different. Are you talking about putting the supersize on the front end?
We don't really have so we're not a funnel business. We don't do funnels, right? So when someone's at my website, they can choose any size right there. It's just a basic Shopify store. Do you want a 2-ounce bottle, a 4-ounce bottle, or an 8-ounce bottle? Pick. Right. And so we rarely will do the larger size as an upsell. We typically what we do is actually we use apps in Shopify. There's apps that are really, really good that once you have enough traffic and enough sales, they know from history which products go together best based on what your customers choose. And I highly recommend that. You can't guess this stuff. What I would have, well, you have to guess it at first. You guess, okay, they bought this, and so we add this. So we don't upsell with bigger sizes. We always upsell with different products. And that's also because we want them to try other stuff. I want my customers to be introduced and try everything that I have. And they may settle back to just 2 or 3 items, and that's fine. But I'd rather go sideways with the shopping cart experience than up. The up will come naturally. They'll see that it's less per ounce all by themselves. So if they're using it every single month, and then they finally realize, well, I can get a 3-month supply for only $20 more, they're just going to do that all by themselves.
Yeah, and that has other ramifications on the business as well, right? That has some ramifications on the email follow-up sequences because now you may not need to hammer that list as much. Or a lot of supplement companies are emailing their list every single day, whereas you don't really have to because they've got a larger supply.
Yes, and back to, and this is a really big one. Back to what I said about don't run out of money, don't run out of inventory. Well, guess what? When you're going back to your same supplier and saying, hey, this month I need 2,000 of the small size, but I also want 1,000 of a bigger size. Well, now you get a bright price break on both because they're formulating the same thing in more quantity. So your suppliers like you. Suppliers don't want companies that are buying 1,000 of 10 things versus a company that buys 10,000 of one thing, right? Like, the further you get down the track in the supplement industry, the more you realize how important it is to have supplier partners that like you, right? Because they can be picky right now. The contract manufacturing industry right now is going absolutely crazy, and they don't need small-time people who come to them and have a dream of a huge product line in a Shopify store, and they see the writing on the wall. They would much rather deal with a company like ours that has a small product line of high volume.
Yeah, I don't think it makes sense to go wide with a full store of many products. Honestly, you can build a solid supplement company with just 3 products, in my opinion.
Yeah, and time will tell, right? So what happens is we start off with one product. We probably sold $10 million of one product before we did another product. And so I very much like what you say there. We just did that one thing, but it's a darn good thing we introduced other things because that problem has turned out to be problematic. That product has turned out to be problematic. We still have it, we still sell it, but it's a weight loss product, and any weight loss product is getting harder and harder and harder to sell. No matter how much science you have behind it, no matter what a good job you do with it, no matter how much you have third-party labs test it to prove that it's quality, no matter how much support you give to the customers, weight loss is the highest, well, it's not the highest liability, but it's a high liability arena of the supplement industry. CBD is still pretty high risk. I don't know. There's a variety of products where adaptogens, maybe, I don't know, where, the FTC and the FDA are highly interested in the claims being made and those types of things. And so it's, if we wouldn't have introduced other products, and we've had periods of time where Amazon, where we sell a lot of product on Amazon, and Amazon will periodically just pull a product for no rhyme or reason. And we then have to fight with them. But our product could be off of Amazon anywhere from a week to 2 months. And if that's your primary source of income, you're in trouble. And Amazon needs to be part of a strategy. You can't ignore Amazon. 80% of supplements are sold on Amazon in this country right now. And so you just can't hope, because here's what happens. If you develop a really great brand and then you're not on Amazon, all of your advertising, the people go, oh, that's a really great idea. I like the idea for that pre-workout, whatever that was. Now they go to Amazon and they look for it. And when they search for that pre-workout that's not on Amazon, guess what Amazon does? It shows them everything else.
Yep. So they still end up buying. They're just not buying from you now.
You just spent your advertising dollars to build someone else's business who's good on Amazon.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're right. The health weight loss is a tricky niche. It's a big niche, but it's tricky because there's so many bad players in that space.
There's bad players, and I'm just going to say it. There's bad customers too. So, in different spaces of supplements, so let's take the athletic space. In the athletic space, people who are into performance, people who are buying creatine and pre-workouts and post-workouts, these are people who are hitting the gym. They have self-discipline, and they are generally just comparing your supplements to another brand of supplements, right? They're not as likely to come back and leave bad reviews. The weight loss space, unfortunately, has a lot of people who don't have as much discipline and who hope your product is a silver bullet and might try it for 2 weeks, not do your diet, and then come and leave a nasty review that it didn't work, even though they didn't try it, even though they didn't follow your directions, even though they didn't give it a good old college try. And so don't get me wrong, I have a lot of really great customers who came in our doors because of weight loss. And we have a great weight loss program, as good as anybody. I'll put my weight loss program against anybody's weight loss program out there. And it's way more affordable. Our program is inexpensive. And it's designed to bring people into our world and then get them into a lifestyle of health and adopting a lifestyle where they not only lose that weight, but are able to keep it off through a diet we've developed called the undiet. So our MO is to help them lose the weight, but then give them the what next, because too many people who achieve their weight loss goals don't have a what next. And so they go back to their old habits and put the weight back on. So it's a double whammy. Part of the reason it has such a bad rap is because of those weight loss customers are just yo-yoing from one thing to another, hoping an external thing will solve their problem, and never really admitting that they are the source of their problem and that they just need to make some changes, and that supplements can help, yes, but they're not the standalone solution, because you can't just take a dietary supplement and keep eating pizza and beer and lose weight. And so it's tricky. It's something for new people to consider. What type of person are you looking for? Because in the supplement industry, it blows me away. The people who buy essential oils, a completely different crowd than people who buy performance supplements, who are a completely different crowd than people who are into nootropics, who are completely different than the longevity crowd. All of these different crowds think differently, act differently, have a different psyche, respond differently to different stories. And then you have gender, right? Men and women think and buy very, very differently. And so the complexity of the niches you can get into in supplements is way, way more complex than I think most people realize.
Yeah, there's so many sub niches, and you're right that every buyer is not created equal. I mean, some of those niches you mentioned, like the pre-workout niche, it's really, those people are much more sophisticated as far as the marketplace goes, and versus like a weight loss customer, right, who's just looking for that, who's basically buying based on hope, right? But a pre-workout person is really, they're comparing, how many milligrams of this versus that versus what they take. It's really more about a switching cost than it is about a trying something new cost. Whereas the weight loss is trying something new because they're always looking for that next new thing, because they're always being failed, whether it's being failed because of reasons for them, which most of them are, or reasons because what they're looking for is really not attainable. Right? There's no magic pill that's going to make them lose weight. It's like you said, it helps them. It's part of the regimen, but it's not the whole picture.
Yeah. And so what we have finally arrived at is, I would say, I'm just going to guess that about 30 to 40% of our weight loss customers become good long-term customers. And so there are definitely a lot of people who are serious about losing weight, who don't fall into the category that I talked about earlier, who are legitimate, they're going to lose weight, and they're going to be grateful for what your part was in it. And then they'll trust you. And then when you say, hey, by the way, we've got a digestive pod, or hey, by the way, we've got this or that or the other thing, like, okay, I liked the weight loss product. And then we take the same elements that help people lose weight, and we put them into like our multi, for example. So we can transition people from, okay, you lost weight, here's a supplement now that will help you keep it off. And so what we're doing, we're trying to glean those great legitimate weight loss customers who come to us who really do want to lose weight. They follow our program well. And then again, weight loss is tough. There are people out there that cry themselves asleep at night that are really, really mystified, that change their life, start exercising, eating right, and doing everything right, taking the right supplements, and don't lose weight for like a month. It happens all the time. I see it all the time. They're not lying. They're genuine and sincere people. And it just takes a long time for whatever reason, whether it's hormonal or genetic or whatever. There's a variety of reasons for it. And so in all that criticism I gave earlier of weight loss customers, I want to be careful. There are plenty of people in the weight loss space who are legitimate and sincere and who have a real struggle. And we do take that seriously. If they're willing to work, we're willing to work with them. And so I really do want to help people lose weight. It's 60% of Americans are obese. That's a problem. I had a lady just today. I posted in our Facebook group a verified review on our website where she said, I just lost 29 pounds. I'm under 200 pounds for the first time in many years. That just made my week, right? Hearing those stories is fantastic. And guess what? I reach out to her now. I saved that information. I'm going to send her personal email. Say, hey, I saw your review. Congrats. Can I help? How can we help you on the rest of your journey?
Well, it goes back to what you were saying earlier. Really, it's really fundamentally the business is about helping people along their health journey, right? And you're bringing them in on the weight loss supplement. The weight loss supplement might be a great front end acquisition, and then you're moving them sideways over to the post weight loss thing to keep the weight off, and really the whole journey of health. Right? And then providing even more value with the podcast of other areas of health that they need help with. What about the marketing side of that journey, right? So like, how are you supporting that weight loss journey or whatever the niche they're coming in on, through email, through SMS, through just a Facebook group, through the one-on-one? Like, how are you really like helping them other than just, selling them a good product?
Email is huge in our business. We manage our email list like you wouldn't believe. I mean, we clean it every 6 months. We have a variety of different lists. We have constant lead generation going on. I mentioned earlier, we don't have funnels. We really don't. We're not like trying to take a cold customer and warm them up and then blah, blah, blah. We don't do any of that. My email list is almost exclusively buyers. Okay. So we send a Sunday tips email every Sunday with as much valuable content as we can. Of course, there's links to our products in there. And every time we send that email, people buy product. So it is successful financially, but we don't lead with buy this, buy this, buy this. We take the best tips from the podcast I did this week and the best health ideas. I subscribe to paid journals with the latest in nutritional and supplemental research. I'll find tidbits that I think are interesting to people. So we're constantly looking for very interesting. I want to have a valuable newsletter that's so good that people don't want to delete it until they've read it. I'm on people's lists like that. I know the good ones. When I'm going through my inbox in a hurry, but I get to like Tim Ferriss's 5 Bullet Friday, I don't delete it if I don't have time to read it because it's so good. It's going to stay in my inbox until I read it. And that's my goal. And then SMS, absolutely. SMS is a big time moneymaker. We have SMS with automatic replies. When they order, they get an SMS letting them know when it's shipped. We then hit up our list, and we don't touch it very often. We do no more than 8 emails a month, and about 6 to 7. Now, excluding transactional emails, I don't count transactional emails. And SMS emails are just part of the deal. They expect to know the tracking number. That's just all automated. Outside of that, they're going to get about 8 emails from us per month and about 6 marketing texts. And some of those are about a sale. We do a sale every 6 weeks. And those are hugely successful for us. And so, and of course we do, Black Friday, Cyber Monday is huge. We spend 3 months preparing for Black Friday, Cyber Monday. Prime Day, we do a massive sale in June in conjunction with Prime Day. And then outside of that, and on about 6-week increments, we do big sales. And so that right there is kind of our whole marketing strategy, really.
The only way they're getting on the list is really through buying. You're not acquiring them through any lead magnets or anything like that. So the list is really super, super clean and strong because they're buyers, right?
Yeah, I mean, we have the luxury of, I'm 13 years into this now. My buyer list is big enough that we can do this strategy. So we stopped doing lead generation campaigns just last year, actually. We constantly had a lead campaign going for a very, very long time. But guess what? They weren't that effective. Here's the best funnel, okay? The ultimate best funnel is this. Let's say you want something right now. Okay. I don't care what it is, whatever widget. Let's say you want a minimal wallet. Okay. How are you going to buy it?
I go search on Google, or I'm going to go directly to Amazon.
Yeah. And then you're going to go through and you're going to look for the product that you like best and you're going to buy it, right?
Yeah.
Now, the ultimate funnel is for us as sellers to have our product show up in enough people's paths that want what we have when they're ready to buy it. That is the ultimate funnel. SEO, right? They're searching for something specific and you have it and you've done a good job of it. Another reason I do a podcast every week is because we publish 1,000-word article about every podcast every week. My website gets 52,000-page articles with video and graphics every week of the year. Right?
All about content. We're all media companies at the end of the day, right?
That's right. That's right. So we post to social media, of course. We post to social media. Also, who the very best customer now, I just mentioned a great funnel. That's actually not the very best funnel. That's the second best funnel. The number one funnel is that you bought this product and you took it for 3 weeks and you loved it and you told your friend. That's the best funnel. Like I've been taking, your friend says, I don't know about supplements. I think they're a scam. And you say, well, I don't know, but I take Dirobi's Mimi's Miracle Multi and their Mimi's Miracle Minerals, and I feel like $1 million. My third day in, I had more energy, less brain fog, and I slept better. And they go,
yeah, that's the best marketing you can get. That's better than any advertisement.
Yeah. And too many people spend too much time focusing on their funnel and not on what I just said. You got to focus on your products. I mean, it took me 3 years to develop this multi, 3 years. We didn't put it out until we had it solid. We have a PhD chemist and a PhD nutritionist helped me formulate this. We did research on what should be in a multi for grownups. This is not for kids, right? This is for my audience. It has elements for weight loss, cholesterol lowering, all the things people struggle with, all the things that I told you earlier. This thing's designed. It fills in the top deficiencies, helps people feel better. I want people to take this and a week later think, I've never had this experience with another multi. I'm going to take this forever. So the number one thing to focus on in your funnel is the product they're going to get at the end of the funnel. And too many people don't do that. They often don't even know what's in their products. And so know your ingredients, know your formulation. And you know, when I'm formulating these things, I bought probably the top 20 selling multis off of Amazon as part of my research, right? Because my goal is not to knock any of them off or to copy any of them. My goal is, who makes this supplement right now that's very popular and people like it? Who are the top 5 or so sellers? I said 20 here, but normally it's about 5. And not how do I knock them off? I want something better than all of them. I'm trying to beat them. I'm not trying to match them. I'm trying to beat them.
Yeah, you're out producting them.
Yeah. And that's got to be your focus. You got to know, and you got to work with a really great partner. You got to have, you know what a lot of people in the supplement industry do? They go to the contract manufacturer saying, I want to sell Garcinia Cambogia. I'm ready to buy 2,500 units. What's your price? And that's the conversation they have. Now, when you go to that same manufacturer and you say, I want to create the best Garcinia Cambogia product on the market, and I want to work with you long-term because you've already vetted them, you already know that other great people use them, and you're coming in with that story, you're now starting to build a real relationship that can last a very long time. When you come back to them and go, oh, I shopped this around and this other guy will make a bottle of Cambogia for me for $2.50. The good ones say, well, go to that guy then. So they go off to that guy, they get their Cambogia for $2.50. And then another person comes along and they work with a PhD chemist who says, well, along with your Garcinia Cambogia, we ought to do this and this and this, and we ought to put this many milligrams in. And I looked at this study that was done on people who are obese, and they took 1,000 milligrams a day, not 500, not 300, not 2,000. And something that helps Garcinia get into the system is this. And you spent all this time making the best Garcinia product, and it costs you $8 a bottle, not $2.50. But guess what? You sell the pants off of everybody else 2 years later. And then Amazon comes out and says, hey, everyone, you got to get third-party lab testing done. Send all your products into a lab, send in the test results. And the guy spending $2.50 finds out for the first time that he doesn't even have what it says on the bottle he has. And his product is pulled from Amazon.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a common story.
But it all started because they didn't focus on the quality and on their customer and on the long term. All they're thinking about is a high margin product. You pay $2.50, you sell it for $30. Won't I be rich? Well, you'll be more rich if you have a product 10 times better for $8 that you sell for $40 for a very, very long time.
Do you think the market is kind of squeezing out the those bad players that are?
Oh yeah. I've seen in my 13 years. In 2009, it was a disaster. Anyone could sell anything,
Mm-hmm.
and it was no one had much confidence. And then about 2015, 2016, Amazon had absorbed most of the supplement sales in the United States. They're probably at 50% market share at that time. And they started to get the FTC and the FDA breathing down their neck. And then 2 years ago, when they came out and required ISO 9000 labs, you had to test your product. And we not only have to prove that what the supplement facts say is accurate, on some of our products, they require an additional test that it doesn't contain certain contaminants, which a lot of products do. So because Amazon had 80% market share last time I checked, I would say, I'm just guessing, but I think 50% of sellers are gone from Amazon in the last 3 years selling supplements because they don't meet the bar.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
So to be honest, I don't compete with anybody that I know of, really. And that might sound egotistical or grandiose. We're a small company. We're not one of the big players. We have a lifestyle business, just like I described before. It's a successful business. We're not the smallest around, but we're not in GNC or, Walmart or Costco, and have no desire to be. I really feel like we only compete with ourselves because there's more than enough customers for Dirobi products. And so I'm not really in a hyper competitive space because we're just looking for 10 to 20,000 sales a month, which is tiny in this industry, right? It's nothing. And it's not hard for us to do that based on all the things that I've told you. And so I think that being a smallish seller in an ocean of whales has huge benefits. I don't know if there's anyone out there. I don't feel like I have a target on my back from anybody. I don't think anyone out there is going, oh, we got to knock off Dirobi, right? They don't know who I am, right?
You're under the radar, but you're successful.
Under the radar, but making a living, and that's a really great place to be. And so it also is vice versa. I'm not trying to knock off anybody else. I don't care how much the big dogs sell. I only need a tiny share of a multi-billion-dollar business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you've carved out just a little niche, and you're happy with the progress, right? And really, at the end of the day, it comes down to happiness, right?
I love what I do. I mean, yeah, right. And I'm sure you're the same way. You're an entrepreneurial guy, and same thing. I bet, I don't know you, we just met, but I bet we share one thing for sure. And that is that in the morning, we wake up and we love what we do, right? How many people can say that?
100%. Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing. And if you look at the population of the world, There's just a tiny fraction of people that can say that. So we have to be grateful for that we live in a country where we can do that. And that we've had some luck, although as entrepreneurs, we love to take all the credit for everything we do. But we've had to have a few things go our way. At the same time, I've been through some pretty tough stuff. I've been through bankruptcy. I've had some tough weeks and years in my entrepreneurial career since 1993. But since I've started in the supplement industry, I've enjoyed this business more than any other, and I love it. So
it fits with everything about you. It's you.
yeah, that's kind of what I think. I mean, I'm 56, and I think, boy, I'm seeing that 65-year-old age come up pretty quick. And in our country, we've kind of thought that when you turn 65, you stop working. And as I think about that, and I actually have friends who are retiring around me with various different careers, and I think my 65th birthday will be a non-event. Nothing will change. I'm not going to stop working. Right. I like what I do. Like literally nothing will change. And after that, as I get older, I might slow down. I might change things, maybe go back to that whole 4-hour work week. But I've got something right now that I'm not anxious to end it or retire from it, or I'm just going to keep on going as long as I enjoy it.
Yeah, I don't see retirement either. Like I don't know what I would do. Like I think there wouldn't be much fulfillment if you just sit around. Like you said earlier, if you enjoy the beach for 2 hours and that's about it. Now you're too hot and sweaty and you got to get something done. There's always so much opportunity out there, but it's endless.
Yeah. So anyways, I see this being long-term. I also have my boys in my business. My 2 oldest boys work for me. And so over time, they already have some ownership, and over time they will get more and more. So their long-term plan is to take over what I started. And we work together. It's a true family business. So I really enjoy that too. So very long-term, we'll just keep working out win-win arrangements for them to kind of work me out and them get more of the business. So that's kind of our long-term plan.
You're living the dream.
Yeah, well, I think so. I mean, it's not perfect and there are problems and there's always a fire to put out or something to do, but it really is the dream, especially when compared to the world. I mean, I've been to India, I've been to the Philippines, I've seen poor countries, and I never forget that there are people on this planet that just don't have opportunity. There's people in this country that don't have as much opportunity as you and I, and I'm very cognizant of that and happy to help. It's one of the reasons I'm happy to be on your podcast. If anyone can hear something that I said today that helps them on their journey to be more successful, then I'm happy. That's great. So, because there's not many people do it. And so whoever's willing to do it, I'm happy to help out if I can.
You're right. We're definitely grateful in our positions and where we live and in the country we're in, and certainly from a point of privilege that maybe other people don't have. But like you dropped some really good bombs, going to a small business association and starting there and getting something that's already working, and rather than trying to create something from scratch. So hopefully you've led people in the right direction to model what you've done and be successful like you.
I hope so. And just one quick point on that, for the person who really wants to formulate something from scratch, and that is their dream. I don't poo-poo that, but I still would say, first of all, make sure, don't fall in love with your product. Don't assume it's an awesome product till other people tell you it's an awesome product. Get really, really good advice on those ingredients and get other people's money however you can. If you can find a business loan to start your business, do it, because you need a lot more money than you think. Too many people run out of money before they can make this successful. You mentioned earlier the cost of acquiring your first few customers. It's very, very high, and be willing to pay that. You might have to pay $200 for every single new customer in the beginning of this type of business. So be prepared for that. And over time, that will go down, it'll go down, it'll go down. And then over time, it gets super low. Like if I turned off all my advertising today, we'd still bring in a decent amount of money, our business wouldn't go away, right? But it takes a long time to get there. So just be prepared to start very, very high, higher than you might think on your initial cost of getting customers. And only time and success and good quality products are going to change that.
And that's the other thing. If you stop too soon, you'll never reach success either. Right? It's really about continuing little by little.
It really is. I can't emphasize it enough. For almost everyone I know who is successful as an entrepreneur, it always took longer than they thought and cost more than they thought.
Absolutely.
Every single time. And so that's not a negative. What that is reality that you need to embrace. If you think you need $10,000 to start this business, no. You know, you probably need at least 10 times that. I think if you had $100,000 to launch one product, you can do it if you're really, really smart. If you had 250, you have a much better chance. Can I give you an example?
Absolutely.
Okay, one of my friends, and I can't drop names on this, but he currently sells 5 of the top 10 selling supplements in the United States. We're good friends. We golf at his country club a few times a year. He helps me out when I want advice. We go to some of the trade shows together. I watched as he launched his first supplement. And this is years ago, and the strategies have changed, but the mindset has not changed. He first of all spent a lot of money on the initial order of that product. It was expensive. It was a canister, the canisters of powder.
Yeah.
That was exactly the size. Okay. And he ordered like 10,000 of them. Okay. At $14. There's 140,000, right? Or yeah, 140,000. Then he spent $15,000. Well, he spent $5,000 on the copywriting. I don't know what he spent on the entire website, but he came up with a really incredible website. Then he spent $15,000 a month on advertising to a funnel. He did use a funnel, which I've kind of poo-pooed a couple of times on here, but anyways, some points you got to have a funnel, I guess. $15,000 a month on that funnel. The first month, he hardly sold anything. The second month, he sold about $15,000 worth of product. The third month, he sold about $25,000 worth of product. So he's starting to get close to profit, but not really, because he also had support reps. He had to pay support reps and salespeople to be taking the phone calls, doing the support for a company that's not profitable yet, right? Now, if you add all that up from the initial product sale to the $45,000 of advertising spend, to having people full-time take the calls and do the support, he's upside down a couple $100,000 at least. Month 4, they made money. And 3 years later, he sold that thing for $2.8 million.
Because he kept going.
He kept going, and he had a lot of money in the kitty to make this thing really, really hum. And so this is why when someone's getting in the supplement industry, they're like, yeah, I've saved up $10,000. You're like, oh man, you can't even buy your. I don't know of a contract manufacturer right now anywhere that accepts orders of less than 1,000 units. And if you take my advice in this podcast, you're going to spend 2 to 3 times more per bottle than your competitors are doing, because you're going to be going for the high end. You're going to be going for functionality. You're going to be going for effectiveness. You want ingredients that actually work, right? And you don't get that for $2.50 a bottle. And so you got to think quality, and you got to think effectiveness. You got to think, when they take this, are they going to feel anything? Are they really going to know the difference? Unless your supplement's really high quality, they won't. And so again, back to the find the money. And it's out there. If not the SBA, you probably know someone who's wealthy. And don't actually, when I say know someone, don't do the 3 F's, right? Fools, family, and friends. Don't ruin a relationship with a good friend. I'm talking, maybe you know someone who has backed other businesses or something like that, or in your circles, there's someone who is a legit venture capitalist who has deep pockets and would fund your dream. Someone out there. Money follows good ideas.
Absolutely. And it all doesn't have to come from the same place either, from one place either, right? It can come from multiple different sources.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. The SBA is a great place to start. I would definitely start there because it's easy money to get. The government right now is highly motivated to create new businesses. And so, start with that. And if not, make that your focus. If you don't know how to find money, learn.
Exactly.
Read books about it.
Yeah. The education never stops.
Yeah.
Dave, this was a wonderful conversation. I really enjoyed this. Tell people where they can find you and learn more about you.
Dirobi.com. I don't do business consulting or anything like that anymore. And so I don't even have a place. I did consulting for a very, very long time. And that was my main thing. And I had a sideline business in consulting and helping people. I would say, I'll back up what I said earlier. On my homepage at Dirobi.com, there's a place you can make a 20-minute appointment for me. If that's entrepreneurial, there's a place you enter notes on why you're contacting me. And if you fill out that form and book a 20-minute session with me and say, I'm trying to start a business, would you talk to me? I will talk to you. Absolutely. I would feel, an honor to do so. And like I said, we all need to help each other. We need to help as many people on this planet be successful as we can. A rising tide raises all boats, right? So
that's very, very generous of you. And the website for everybody listening is dirobi.com. And then there's also your podcast as well, where they can listen to you there, the Dirobi Health Show.
Yeah. For those of you interested in health or weight loss, love to talk to you about that too. We got 13 years of experience in that arena, and I think we have a phenomenal plan there too. So
it's all connected, right? It's all one life, right? Business side, health side, you need both.
Health comes first. Health is more foundational
Mm-hmm.
because you give a sick person all the money in the world, it hardly matters, right? If you don't have your health, the greatest wealth is health. The second greatest wealth, well, we could get into a debate about this, but our spiritual life, our family life, of course, we all have these values that are very important to us. But when it comes to wealth, health is the greatest wealth, and then wealth is the greatest wealth.
You're right. Absolutely right.
Happy to talk about health or money or whatever anyone wants to talk about from your podcast. And like I said, the same place, you just go to Dirobi.com, scroll down, and you'll see a place. Just fill out the Calendly form, and it'll put a 20-minute meeting on my calendar.
Extremely generous of you. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. This was fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
Creative Thirst is a direct response digital agency focusing on conversion rate optimization and A/B testing. We work with dietary supplement companies who are struggling to maximize the profitability of their funnels so they can scale. Through the last 7 years in the online health space, we've optimized many dietary supplement businesses. And in that time, we've uncovered the 3 critical funnels for success. We put together that information in a free digital download called The 3 Funnels Every Health Supplement Business Needs to Build a Multi-million-dollar Empire. You can get that free report by going to creativethirst.com. Scroll down to the appropriate section and click on the blue Get Your ebook button.